Walelifana njengaleli lesilibonga kakhulu kuma organizers of the space lithuba lelimcoka ngoba emaswatini lamanengi bekusengakacaceleki kahle lokho ukuthi njengoba besiwacelile futhi siwamema ukuthi akabambisane nathi nesive sonkhana nje.
Angimuva President ngiyamuva nini. Stucky, can I make you a speaker?
Angathi noma ngiyevakala yini ngoba mina ngiyanifa ngala.
Bese kubenza impela nje ungevakali. Gcine usabonga.
Cha no ayibe ncane tinjalo letinfo te technology. No besithi sifuna lokuthi sicale nekwendlulisa kubonga kwethu lokukhulu esiveni semaswati sonkhana ekutheni sibambisene nathi lamuhla sahlala emakhaya sakhombisa kuleseka nekulihlonipha lelisuku lwalamuhla lebe kulisuku la khona besendlulisa kutsabuka kwethu nekushaceka kwethu njengesive semaswati kulokwendeka kulomnyaka lophelile ngaJune 29. Ngiyethemba lokuthi lamaqhawe nemaqhawekati lathenga ngengadi nangemphefumulo wawo inkhululeko yethu njengesive semaswati lapho alele khona ajabulile lamhla kubona lokuthi sonke simaswati lenzima la idlala inzima lesitichenya ngayo kakhulu sithi nje maswati lamahle emagumbini lamane alelive siyabonga kakhulu kuleni kwendela muhle ngiyethemba lokuthi nebahlonishwa bethu nalamanye nje maswati lesolo
network ngoba interfere.
Angathi host noma kunenkinga yini ngakuwe. Anyway, ngicabanga lokuthi maswati lamahle sitawuchubeka nale brief address. Siyethemba ukuthi labo lesilahleka kubo batawuzama lokuthi basithole lokuthi thini besithi nje sigcizelela ikakhulu kubonga kwethu emaswatini. Sifuna ikakhulu ke maswati lamahle lokuchaza lokuthi leli holiday lamuhla belehluke ngani kulamanye amaholiday. Sisive semaswati na ungathi uthatha kubuka sinamaholiday lamanengi langasiwo emaholiday ethu. Uwabona ngani ke ngokuthi akasiye emaholiday ethu? Kuphuma emaphoyisa nemasoja avalise bosomabhizinisi emabhizinisi abo ngesikhathi lesitside kuthiwe ngiyabekisa wonke umuntu akayencwaleni noma kuthiwe leli holiday lalomuhla liholiday lekutalwa kwenkosi noma inkosi leyakhothama noma inkosi lekhona kuthiwe sonke ngenkani kufanele siyekele konke lesikwendayo. Kodwa lesikubonela muhle uthe uhulumende noma ezama ukukhipha emaphoyisa nemasoja kuthi aphocelele emaswati ukuthi angalihloniphi leli holiday lalamuhla. Ngekubumbana emaswati athi lelalamuhla liholiday ngoba liholiday lethu njengesive lelikhulumisa tidzingo nekucinzeteleka kwethu. Liholiday lesitalihlonipha sithi tandla tendlule enhloko maswati lamahle. Lamhla siukhombisile umbuso wamswati lokuthi yini lesingakhona kuyiachieve nasibambene sisebenzisana in unity to assert lulungelo letfu even letfu labo babemkhulu sithi nje emaswati lamahle akungagcini lamuhle
It's an accident.
sidzinga lokuthi sibakhombise nangalelinye lilanga ngekubuka kwethu kethine njengebaholi sibona lokuthi ngoba lelo holiday belingagcini lamuhle kulomnyaka lotako ngaJune 29 asingabadi lokuthi le impact yale holiday lalamuhla will be even greater siyethemba nokuthi njengoba iminyaka la khona sikalibamba silobserve lelo holiday naletinye tinhlangano letifaka ekhatsi tinhlangano tetisebenzi civil society formations hleze la ngabonakali avela ngendlela hleze besingathanza vele ngayo kulelungiselelo lwalelo holiday lwalomuhla atawuvela sithanza kubonga kakhulu inhlangano yeswavisa we maximally mobilize for the holiday lamuhla sithi kumengameli Xolani Maseko nebuholi bonke benyonyana yebafundzi SNAS siyabonga for all the build ups leniwabambile sicabanga lokuthi lempumelelo yalelanga lalamuhla ikhomba kona umsebenzi lomuhle leniwendile maswati lamahle kasingakhohlwa lokuthi June 29 awusiwo nje about lamaswati labulawa la over 100 lamanye ajikwa emlilweni lamanye endiwa tinkhubela June 29 is about every other life of a Swazi that we have lost as a result of the inefficiencies and the greed of Mswati and his government. June 29 is about the unnecessary lives that we have lost in our hospitals as a result of kubebete kwemithi etibhedlela. June 29 is about lamaswati lamancane lathenga kucedza high school agcina sacommita suicide because they were not given scholarships. June 29 was about letimpilo temaswati labulawe unnecessary etandleni temaphoyisa ngaphandle kokuthi amikiswe etinkantolo atekiswe macala. June 29 is about letimpilo temaswati lamanye labulewe emaveni ngekuthi kude imisebenzi eSwatini ahambe ayofuna imisebenzi ngaphandle kwelive laseSwatini. June 29 is about labantu labadzala labanye labaze bashona labanye labaphila bakhubatekile lamuhla as a result of stroke ngenxa yetimali tabo tema savings lebiwa sigodlo kufaka ekhatsi indlovukazi kuleya pyramid scheme yeSweet lapho khona kwebiwa timali temaswati. So June 29 represents the collective grievance yethu njengesive semaswati against royal dictatorship and royal plunder. That is what today's holiday was about. And sithe maswatini including bosoma business labanconote kuvala ema-businesses abo and they lost an income, including tisebenzi that lost a daily wage because atika emsebentini, including bafundzi that lost an academic day because bahlele emakhaya. All those sacrifices, they represented our collective anger. All those sacrifices, they represented our collective grief. And we are saying to all of you, we have never been prouder than we are proud today. We are saying to Honorable Bacete Mabuza, who has paid with his hard-earned wealth by sacrificing and spending all the days he's spending in prison. Your sacrifices, emaswata kombisile lamuhla ukuthi, they are not in vain. Was saying to Honorable Mtandeni Dube, all the sacrifices that we have made, Mzomba, emaswati collectively today, have showed you that those sacrifices are not in vain. Was saying to Honorable Mtuduzi Smelane Kauzela, all the sacrifices that we have made of living outside your country and of forfeiting what was relatively a good earning in parliament, emaswata kombisile lamuhla ukuthi those sacrifices were not in vain. Was saying to all our exiles who left their motherland and have spent decades outside the country fighting for our liberation, emaswata kombisile lamuhla ukuthi your sacrifices are not in vain. Was saying to our departed Mataya, Comrade Amos Messiah Mbetsi, who spent 14 years languishing in Mswati's prison. The Swazi nation have showed you, Comrade Messiah, that your sacrifices were not in vain. Was saying to Comrade Musa MJ Dlamini, Comrade Jackie Govender, your sacrifices, emaswati akombisile lamuhla, that your sacrifices were not in vain. Sithi kuko konke lokhu maswati lamahle, niyawubonga uNkulunkulu losezulwini. All that we can say is that let this represent the beginning of many such political stairways that we will embark on as a country in our final push to unseat royal supremacy. Sifuna ke kuchaza nalokho ukuthi yini kahle kahle leli silwa nayo la. Maswati lamahle, Mswati as an individual simbadala 1.3 billion emalangeni from the fiscus. Liholo lalithatha quarterly. So every time when we receive allocation from SACCO, within 3 days, imali that is due to Mswati is paid in advance. Now buka ke ukuthi ayedwa nje, and I'm not talking about the institution of the monarchy as an institution. Ngoba phela sitawukhumbula maswati lamahle ukuthi as an institution kunabo King's Office nabo lababa ne budget, kunawo lamanye mabandla labhadalwa from the fiscus. Ngikhuluma ngemali leya iyobhadala Mswati as the head of state, as an individual, leng 1.3 billion emalangeni. Leyo mali leyo na ungabuka goods on a daily basis, how much are we paying Mswati the individual? It makes you realize why as a country we will never be able to pay a pension yebantu labadzala on time, reliably, regularly, because yonke imali goes to just but one man. Ikwenda ukuthi ubone lokho ukuthi why as live we will never be able to pay scholarships even to those few students that Hulmende has awarded scholarships. Ikwenda ubone lokho ukuthi why we will never be able to give the 70 Hulmende salary increases that are in line with inflationary increases. Ikwenda ubone why imigwaqo yethu iyaqhubeka ibe riddled with potholes. Ikwenda ubone kokuthi why noma sesititfolile ema donations to build ema facilities like the new hospital wing lekhona lapha eMbabane that is so underutilized, with still some of those furnitures in that wing unutilized ngoba we don't have the needed numbers of healthcare workers because hulumende uthi imali. All those things dinvo letenda kokuthi siphile in misery as a people sisive semaswati. Sisasikusho ke lokhu maswati sitobona lokwekuthi kungani sine njengenhlangano ensine njengenhlangano temaphathi sikulibeka kube sobala lokwekuthi asiyuze sibe nenchubekela phambili esive semaswati so long as we have umswati ahleli lapha lahleli khona as an absolute monarch that we have no say on the allocation that we receive and why any day longer with Mswati remaining where he is nalamandla lanawo represents a perpetuation of our misery and suffering as a country. Kungaleso zathu ke Maswati lamahle la khona sithi akusetfusi nakancane lamahemhem lathi kunema warrant of arrest lakhiphiwe kude thina lesikwesabako nangabe ikhona I warrant of arrest njengoba sivile ukuthi khona sithi kulabo labayiphethe abasuthi bambelela futhi basibambelele sive nangabe ikhona I warrant bakhona bameli bethu bangathinzana nemmeli wethu ukhona ummeli wami Maxwell Ngambule bangakhona kumthinza bamnike leyo warrant udatha ngayithola ngadise and we are more than happy to respond to that warrant ngoba we have always made it clear lokuthi kude lesikwesabako but sicabanga ukuthi sesikushilo lokho kunetinto lekufuna ukuthi sitibeke tibe sobala Maswati lamahle. There is no rule of law even laseSwati. There is no independent judiciary even laseSwati. EmaSwati akadzingi ukuthi azabuke khashana. They need to look at what is happening kulabahlonishwa lababili who have been persecuted for over a year now. La khona hulumende athi noma sabite bofakazi athi noma savala icase yakhe abefuna futhi ukuthi anikwe lithuba lekwengeta bofakazi la khona sithi state noma sesiguqile ekubekeni ubufakazi babo siphinze sifune kuamenda ema charges and we are waiting with bated breath for Judge Mamsi's judgment lesigathe ukuthi iphume kusasa la khona sitawubona ukuthi uyabavumela yini ukuthi baamende lama charges against bahlonishwa even when the state had rested its case akusimangalisi ke thina ngoba siyathi sikubonile nasecaleni la Amos Mbethe Maswati lamahle la khona loyo lo wagweba Amos Mbethe 85 years wabongwa ngokuthi andiwe Chief Justice long Chief Justice lamuhla lese exposekile lokuthi he is a very corrupt man who will not think twice to steal from the fiscus njengoba sibonile emaphephandabeni asikakhohlwa phela Maswati lamahle kuthi kuthandi lokho bekuna Nsatheli Bheki Makhubu naThulane Maseko labatekiswa emacala bagwetshwa kube kubonakala ngokuthi bede licala bagwetshwa ngilobeke ndiwe judge ngaleso sikhathi impendulo simelana lo ngilamuhla adlala udzaka lapha timdambile tinkundla takhona kumsebenzisa against Thulane Maseko naBheki Simelana naBheki Makhubu sikubonile futhi namanje kunaba lesiva ukuthi bayathinzeka etehlakalweni la khona bahlaliswe emalanga azaba 5 bangavedwa embi kwenkantolo bathi nabavete embi kwenkantolo esikhundleni sokuthi manje awabute emaphoyisa nebashushisi ukuthi kungende kanjani ukuthi kungaba neliswati noma lokanye emaswati lagcinwa estoksini kuze kwendlule lo 48 hours lo bekwe ngumthetho angavedwa embi kwenkantolo kodwa manje usuke wavumelana nemaphoyisa wavumelana nebashushisi waphinza wabangetela kuthi lo 5 days of extensive torture lo safarishwa ngilo Maswati awuphinze ungetelwe ngalamanye emalanga babe setandleni temaphoyisa bangayiswa nase prison. These are the things that makes us sibone lokuthi nemambala kude I rule of law eSwatini kude tinkantolo leti objective and independent singete sakhohlwa ukuthi kunapho isigama lo solo nalamhla loku alapha emathapha maximum letatsi tinkantolo kufuna ukuthi akhishwe ngoba sowuqedzile kuseva sigwebo sakhe kodwa bala bashushisa kumkhipha siyayati indzaba yasemacetsheni nakamkhweli lapho tathi noma tinkantolo tisikhibile lesijubo waqhubeka uhulumende nemaphoyisa akhe wenda loku against tijubo tetinkantolo sithi asikusho lokumaswati ngoba noma seyifikile le warrant of arrest nayikhona sitawuconsulta nebameli sitawuconsulta nabo bonke baholi betinhlangano sitawuconsulta nesive jikelele kokuthi what is the next course of action but lesikliye ngako thina from where we stand kokuthi there is no turning back. Many lives have been lost unnecessarily under this evil murderous regime. The time has come and the time is now that all of us in a united fashion we must take a stand, we must organize ourselves more impactfully, but most importantly we must defend ourselves. Sidawuphinza maswati. We must defend ourselves. We must never agree to be blackmailed by those who are quick and eager to kill us whenever we defend ourselves. So we are urging our people to employ every means necessary to defend themselves, to be each other's keeper, to make sure that there is no single Swazi who lose his or her life unnecessarily while we are there. Angeke sive ngalabo lababulala eMaswati. What methods are acceptable? Nasithi siyabuka Maswati. Uthi uyalalela noma ngabe kukhuluma inkosi, noma ngabe kukhuluma indvunankulu, noma ngakukhuluma lisekela landvunankulu, noma ngakukhuluma indvuna yembuso, noma ngakukhuluma lokhulumela hulumende. All you get from those utterances is anger, it is contempt, it is disrespect, and it is war. So you can see that we are dealing with people who are agitating for war. We want to say to them, we are not fearful anymore. We are ready for any eventuality. And indeed, we agree with the President and the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters when he restated what we have been saying. Mswati will never know peace as long as there is no democracy in Swaziland. Mswati will never have a sleepful night as long as our members of parliament are languishing in prison. Tinkundla will never know safety as long as our leaders are still in exile, including the likes of Comrade Mandla Hlachwago, Comrade Lakil Kele, Comrade Bongane Masugu, Comrade Bowman Tsela, Comrade Gavin McFadden, Comrade Kauzela Mtutuzis Melane, and many others. There is no infrastructure whose safety is going to be guaranteed as long as Maswati are living under fear from the army, from the police, from correctional service officials. We are at a point when we have said we have lost our virginity, we have lost our innocence, we have lost our state of fear. We stand ready to insist that emandla ethu Maswati makasikhokhele. There must not be any Swazi who earn a poverty wage above 1,100 anywhere in our country. As long as sinahulumende lo gazeta kuthe Maswati akabhadalwe bo 1,100, we see that as a declaration of war. So sithi ke Maswati lamandla, Maswati lamahle emandla ethu akasikhokhele. Nangabe emandla ethu angasikhokhele, ingati yethu mayisikhulule. We make no apology about the fact that we will be defending ourselves. We will not be intimidated by the nefarious attempts by a desperate state to link some of us and other leaders to activities that we are not involved in. We are not involved in any activities that they are desperately trying to link us to. But we will support and encourage any Swazi who feels the pain that we are feeling to employ any means necessary that will take our revolution forward. We want to say, for the longest time, Maswati, we have been waiting in great hope and anticipation that njengoba sadaka sethembisa ukuthi there will be an all-inclusive, meaningful dialogue, it is coming. Our patience has been worn out. Instead of engaging in any meaningful dialogue, all we are seeing is increased numbers of soldiers roaming the streets, harassing our people. While we are waiting for an all-inclusive dialogue, all we have been subjected for is endless raids against our leaders, including our leaders that have already had their legs amputated. It is not enough for this evil murderous regime. They still want to haunt them in early dawn raids, while we are waiting, hopeful that there is going to be a dialogue. Clearly, we are dealing with a murderer here who is not committed to any peaceful resolution of the stalemate in Swaziland. It is for that reason that we think that Sidaukoka solo simele dialogue. We must impose the condition for dialogue from Swati. We must make them realize that actually a dialogue is in their best interest. They are not doing us any favor by engaging in an all-inclusive, meaningful dialogue. We think that starting from the activities of today, we must all go and intensify our struggles in our communities. We must spare no energy or effort in ensuring that these activities, they culminate in mass rolling action that is going to render the country ungovernable and make Tingunda unworkable. We want to appeal to trade union leaders. We have allowed our Swazis to be paid poverty wages for too long. We need to start discussing how do we engage in collective mass action where we will all call strikes across sectors at the same time. We want to say to President Xolani Maseko and the entire leadership of SNAS, siyabonga emaswatini londle bantwana enyuvesi lebe basenakudla, but we cannot reduce our students in higher institutions of higher learning to endless beggars. We owe it to ourselves, Nzamani, to bring dignity and assert dignity for those students by ensuring that no institution of higher learning will reopen unless all allowances are paid in full and there is not a single cent that is owed. We are saying to Kritisonga Njengesipho seMaswati, who have been waiting hopefully for the Deputy Prime Minister, who has demonstrated over and over again to be a man who has no integrity, who is shameless, who has been lying to our elderly and disabled that they will be getting their grants, but they have not been receiving their grants, that we must engage in our mass rolling action. We want to say to our fellow compatriots in the business community who have been waiting for years now, waiting for a government that have been taking loan after loan under the pretext of raising money so that they can pay them their outstanding dues. Senilinzile kwanele Maswati. Isikhathi sesifikile. Join hands with us. Let's bring this nightmare to an end once and for all. We need to make sure that when Mswati comes back, he finds a country that is rejecting his arrival. We must create conditions that will make it impossible for him to return from Singapore. We must make sure that we have closed the freeways that is hoping to be driving on his way back. We need to collect every material we will need to make sure and make sure that we create conditions that will create the conducive environment for all our exiles to come back home, for our incarcerated MPs to return, and for any pending warrants of arrest to be put in abeyance. We have waited for SADC for too long. In the coming few months, the leadership of Troika will change hands, and we will still be waiting. We believe we have given President Ramaphosa more than enough time for him to show decisiveness collectively with the leadership of SADC. We are happy about what we have seen with the terms of reference from SADC, but clearly they were talking to a deaf government because that government have not adhered to a single timeline that is stated in that document. So we think that we have no reason anymore to be bound by any undertaking that we might have made to the respective delegation from SADC. We need to accept that only our action and activities are going to free us. From where we stand, we are more than determined. We have never been this assured. We want to say to our people, warrant of arrest or no warrant of arrest, who are in the country, who are engaging in this revolution, we stand ready to confront any attack from the enemy. We are not scared. We are determined. We will continue from where our Matthias left off. We are standing on the shoulders of heroes. When we think of the lives of Dr. Ambrose Zwane, when we think of the likes of Prince Dumisa Dlamini, when we think of the likes of President Jan Stoll, when we think of the likes of President Mario Masuku, when we think of the likes of President Didiza Tabete, when we think of the likes of Comrade Dominic Mgomezulu, when we think of the likes of Comrade Nokolo Mdluli, when we think of the likes of Comrade Taban Gomonye, when we think of the likes of Comrade Togozo Dlapangozo, when we think of the likes of Comrade Msimis Mkwanas, when we think of the likes of all the Matthias who have paid with their lives, we feel extremely assured, we feel extremely inspired, and we want to say, we have never been this ready. We want to say to Comrade Mzamo, we shall dare not fail you. We are organizing ourselves every day. We are employing different tactics and strategies every hour. We are getting ready to meaningfully defend ourselves. We have gathered all instruments that are necessary for us to bring dignity to our people. We have gathered all instruments necessary to assert our birthright to our motherland, to claim back our stolen land. We have mobilized young, determined soldiers who are very determined to reclaim the economy that is being looted by the royal aristocrats. So from where we sit, we have never been this assured. We want to say to our fellow Swazis, today was just the beginning. We will be embarking in a series of activities that we will be announcing. We are also proud that you will see for yourselves in the coming few days some of our leaders will be touring the world, speaking to world leaders about your story. Those leaders are representing the entire mass democratic movement. They are representing the entire oppressed people of our country. As you see them in far-flung places, please do know that they have got our blessing. They are representing all of us, and we are intensifying. We have entered a fresh terrain in our last mile to victory. The enemy has never been this scared. We must not allow the enemy any space to breathe again. We want to say to Swazis, even those that are at the hands of the enemy, stay strong. Very soon you will be reunited with your families. We want to say to the families of those that are on the run, of those that are in exile, of those that are in prison, be proud of your sons and daughters, for they represent the best Swaziland can offer. They have dedicated their lives to the most noble cause, which is the liberation of Maswati from a greedy royal family. We want to say to Maswati Lamashe, we love you, we are inspired by you, we have received each and every message that we have sent, and each and every message has made us to be determined. We have never been this determined to fight for our motherland. We look forward to the return of those who are in exile. For those of us who are inside the country, we want to say to our underground forces, be vigilant. Make sure that your moves remain undetected, but make sure that you hit the enemy where it matters most. And when you hit it very hard. There will be fresh commands as we'll be expanding the list of our targets, and we want you to ensure that we adhere to strict revolutionary instructions. This noble struggle is a struggle about dignity. This noble, peaceful struggle is a struggle for the return of the land. This noble, heroic struggle is the struggle for the return of the economy. This struggle is the struggle for our freedoms. And we want to say to all of you, Maswati Lamahle, Nilale Kahle, the day is not yet over. You have done your part. Another shift has taken over and will be working throughout the night in ensuring that we continue to render this country ungovernable. We will continue as your leaders to receive and immediately respond to all your messages and your directives around what is happening. And we want to say to the leadership of the MSF, to the leadership of the PPA, and to the leadership of the mass democratic movement, you've got to applaud yourselves for the great work. As Istrina Maswati Lamahle, we would have made a huge mistake if we don't thank our fellow patriots who are in the army, who are in the police service, some who are in the correctional service, who have been giving us timeless information around the enemy strategy. We are saying to you, fellow compatriots, keep your posts, continue bringing the information. Your information has been extremely useful in redirecting the moves of our fellow fighters. We are proud of your role. When the time is right, we will gladly announce you on the day of freedom and tell many Swazis who will be surprised about your heroic deeds. Continue doing what you are doing, remain in your posts, continue providing us with information. It is this information that has enabled us to be impactful in every action we take. You are safe, you are one of us, and continue supplying us with the names of those who are responsible for the misery of our people. We want to say with those few words, Maswat Lamahle, siyabonga for affording us the opportunity. We thought it was important, with all the information that is going around, to come out to thank you, to come out to assure you that you are well and fine, to come out and say all our leaders who are in contact with each other, we are fine, we are looking forward to continuing the struggle. Today represented the beginning. We want to salute each and every one of you who made the correct decision and stayed home and paid befitting salutation to all the victims of Mswati's endless appetite of killing our people. Thank you very much.
President siyabonga President Maswat Lamahle ngizwela imathi Dlamini lokhuluma ngalathi insanjeni ke namuhla kule public address lesinyayo State of the Nation address ngawucela Makeba ngale ka Democratic News nakukhona umbuto Makeba kumbe lo ungathanza ukuthi ubude stokhona ke ukuthi bese sezivulela ngakhona ngale ka Twitter ngale ka Twitter ke ngawucela ukuthi President ngidamfaka ngelink ya Swaziland News Makeba ungashaya ke ku ecingweni la President njengoba besolo sichumana utokhona nakukhona umbuto kumbe longafisa ukuthi ubude ngalapho ngikunike tona ke tinsambo ngalapho Makeba Maswat Lamahle sisamelena ke Makeba ngale ka Democratic News njengoba ke senda I collaboration kulena address kuthi naye ke nakhona lafuna kusho ngawuvele ke ngibe ngiconnecta ngakhona ka Twitter ngive ukuthi ngabe siyakhona yini kungena ngakhona ngale eka Twitter lapho khona ke maja akade bridge lesebenzana nawo ngala sibone ukuthi ngabe kuya ngeneka yini kodwa nje President sibonga kakhulu la sesibone ukuthi kuyangeneka yini ngala eka Twitter ya nang Makeba sowuvele ke uyangena njengamanje siyabonga kakhulu Makeba ngeneka yini Makeba sowuvele usekhathi ukhala kasha ngiyekuve lapha utibita sewutibite nang President eka Twitter ya nang Makeba sowuvele
ngiyabonga kakhulu msistura kunginikeza ithuba mina President the people's president sawubona President ayikho leminye imibuto kakhulu President kusho nje Maswat Lamahle athi ayakhathateka eva ngathi utawubuyela useswatini bayakhathateka bacela ukuthi uphephe umane ube exile bitokhona kusebenzisana kahle bacela nje lokho President ngiyabonga kakhulu President
Asivusele Makeba, siyabonga kakhulu Mfokazulu. Cha Maswat Lamahle la sikhona khona siphephile asisisodwa njengoba sishilo uMaswati ukuthi siyagcizelela lokuthi kasivikeleni ngiyawethemba lamasotsha lengihleli nawo la lokuthi nangabe kungaba khona leminye imizamo lengathi yavela la, we stand more than ready to repel any possible enemy attack. Sisemele yona i-warrant of arrest Makeba neMaswati onke batayibuka abameli bethu sibuke naloko ukuthi uthi uhulumende ngitiphi leti zathu etimenda kokuthi athi ufuna ukuthi asibophe. Emva kwekuyibuka ke sitawuse siyathinzana lalabanye baholi sithinzane neMaswati onke, and from there senda sinqumo. Kodwa lesingakusho ngiloko ukuthi for the longest time so uzamile Mswati ukuthi utase sabisa, and ngabona aMaswati asabonile lokho ukuthi sesikuphi manje. Kude umuntu Makeba lonengadi lenhlaka, wonke umuntu unengadi lobofu. Kude umuntu lo wakhiwa ngensimbi. Nangabe kufuna kokuthi sibhadale ngengadi yethu for lengululeko, ingadi yethu ayisikhulule. Kodwa nje sithi siyaweve eMaswati futhi siyathi naloko ukuthi lama concerns lanawo ngama concerns la genuine that comes from a well-meaning place. At the right time we will make the decision. Up until then we remain steadfast on inspiring our people on the ground. Lengakusho nje ngiloko ukuthi njengoba senhlangano itolo ngakhona nebuye speak solo silalela tona tikhalo teMaswati kuyashaqisa Makeba na ulalela eMaswati la sebenta emafemini la sebenta letingodweni kuthimba na uva titori tawo about experience yawo ngekucinzeteleka nalelite labhadalwa lona eMaswati. Ngito letinto leti letisenda lokuthi sithi noma siyafa alukho oluvalo. Kodwa mina ngiyethemba Makeba na ubuka lokuthi eMaswati endeni lamuhla in their response to the call for stay away kokuthi sekuvutana embili lasiyakhona. Siyabonga Makeba.
Sibonge kakhulu ke Maswati lamahle sesitayivala ke ngala ka Swaziland News. President Sotaba ka Twitter ke njengamanje lapho khona bebamcele ngakhona ukuthi nakhona ke sibonga kakhulu ukusebenzisana kuwo onke lama platform lesivele kiwo. Sithembe ke ukuthi ke noma sesichubeka senda umsebenzi welive sidaphinde sibe nawo ema collaboration kuze ukuthi sisebenzisane siphinde futhi sibambisane media lapho khona kuvakale ke konke neMaswati akhona ukuyithola information lapho akhona nakuma platforms lapho akhona sekungavele ke ngithathe ke inzambo njengamanje ngitiphonse khona ke lapha yana ke ka Twitter lapho khona ayawukhuluma ngakhona ke president. Sibonga kakhulu Maswati lamahle ungabalelisa president ngaka Swaziland News.
Cha sibonga kuSwaziland News, sibonga kuSwaziland Democratic News nakuwo nje onke ama channels la sinikele lithuba. But ikakhulu sibonga kakhulu eMaswatini la ngene ngemadatha awo kutosilalela sithi Maswati lamahle, forward ever, backward never. Sesibuke yona inkululeko siyanethembisa we will work in unity across all forces. Siyabonga.